Good morning, friends. I hope you are well. Let's talk about SoFi. Obviously, the market is in shambles, and, I don't know that today is going to be much better because what's happening tomorrow after market close? Nvidia will be releasing quarterlies. Now, if you're freaking out about this, we'll watch a video here in a minute. I want to show you something, but right now the sentiment on the Nvidia quarterlies is very positive. It's very positive. So, go put that in the back of your mind right now. Like, this could just be a huge setup once again where Wall Street is trying to trick you and go like, you should sell. Give me your shares. Give me your share. I think there's a lot of that. But obviously do what you want to do. In that conversation, I am still a buyer of SoFi. I think anything under 30 right now is an easy profit into maybe probably by the end of this month, even going into December. The sentiment out there too is very much, that's a good word right now, sentiment, that we're going to see a rate cut. And now obviously Thursday, that's the other big thing we have going on. This week really tells us what the rest of the year is going to look like for the market. That's why this week is potentially This is it right here. What we need. Nvidia, and then Thursday, the job reports. So the job reports come out. I don't know how the market's going to react to that. I'm going to be honest, because we've been back and forth this year, obviously with job reports. The first two rate cuts, job reports came out bad, and the market went yes, because we knew we were getting rate cuts. We knew it was going to push the Feds up against the wall to do a rate cut. And then we had, just a few weeks ago, we didn't have the job reports because the government shut down, but we had the payroll companies. They were like, we're not really releasing a lot of payrolls, things are bad here. So that gave the Feds a little more understanding of what was going on and just what little data they've been able to collect here. Intuitive, they didn't know if they were going to be able to get anything at first. They weren't when the government opened back up here. And they were told they weren't going to get anything. Now, apparently, they're going to get this. And the last thing we heard from the Feds was, okay, well, we still need some data. We may not do a rate cut at the beginning of December. This is kind of just the normal narrative of the Feds. They like to keep you on the edge of your seat. But more than likely, it's not like there were 300,000 jobs created in the last 30, 40 days here. Let's be completely honest. It's quite the opposite. So with that, these job reports should be pretty awful, and the Fed should be forced to do another rate cut whether they want to or not. And if they don't, it could be a disastrous situation for them. Let's talk about SoFi first here. I really want to say that obviously, if you've heard me talk about SoFi, I'm very bullish on SoFi. This is not going to be a real, a cut-up video where I'm going to, like, demolish them and, say, like, well, I don't know if they're going to make it, the economy. We're really seeing that the narrative is really changing for next year. There's a lot of, the only people, it's really interesting because it's such a soap opera out there right now. And, the narrative out there right now for, like, a lot of, I don't know, just things you see on TikTok, things you see on YouTube, and political things too, is that, this is an AI bubble, it's going to collapse, Trump's going to see the market. It's always that. But I think if you're really trying to do well in the market here, what I'm seeing is a lot of big money out there is going, actually, I don't really think we're in an AI bubble at the moment. I think we're about to see revenue increase that we've never seen before. Dan Ives is very much in this place of we're just getting started, baby. In this thing with Nvidia, a lot of relies on this Nvidia report here. I don't want to say too much because I want you to watch this video with me because it'll help. Even if you don't invest in Nvidia, you have to understand Nvidia in the Mag 7, how significant that company is to the overall our markets, everyone's market, the world, everything. It is everything right now. It is essentially the gospel of the market right now. That is really what it is. So we will see what Wednesday brings, but talk about SoFi a little bit here, then I want to watch that video. So, SoFi here, I definitely, like I said, I'm a buyer right now, anything under $30. Now, saying that doesn't mean I'm going like, well, I don't think SoFi is going to go past $30. I really think I don't want to say this too much because I've made some videos on this, but on the bullet points of this conversation is that I do think that Q4 is going to be the strongest we've ever seen with SoFi. That's more than likely what we're going to see. We're going to see over $1 billion quarterly. I believe by that point, that'll be Q4 that will come out in the beginning of next year. We'll know a little more about the market. Maybe we do have this third rate cut. The market maybe is ticking back up, swinging back up, depending where things are at. Okay. The government could be shut down in January again. That's another real situation we're looking at right now. So, because the reason why they shut down in the first place, that hasn't even been resolved, if you don't know. So I'm not trying to get into politics whatsoever, but I'm just like, that's just what is going on. So we'll see how the market reacts to that. With that, I really do believe that SoFi is going to be a very expensive ticket going into next year. I think people within 6 to 8 months from now are going to be begging that they could go back in time and buy SoFi right now. Why I say that is because once SoFi starts to come out with this $1 billion quarterly range, it will prove a lot. It will prove itself to Wall Street. It will prove itself to a lot more ETFs. It will prove itself to bigger money. It will prove itself to this thing of, this is a big boy stock now. This is a very growing stock. This is a company that there's been whispers, a lot of gossip. I've caused a lot of it myself that, this is going to go into the S&P 500. I'm gossiping all the time about that. But I think these are real things that we're looking at here going into 2026. And those are all wonderful things. So, anything from 30 down with SoFi, it is a steal right now. You really have to think of where this is going into the future here. So, my God, really take this, really be an investor about this and go like, what does 5 years look like? I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't been in the market for 5 years, or you look at 5 years ago like, oh my God, 5 years, I can't wait that long. Really think about if you were able to really stack up some shares in SoFi right now, and then 5 years from now, SoFi continues on this aggressive growth rate that it's at right now. It maybe within 5 years, they're coming out with, 3.5, $5.5 billion quarterlies. We'll stretch it out in there a little bit. So, what is that going to look like for the share price? That's an aggressive growth rate right there. And two, one reason why, SoFi could really start to grow here too is because it's the growth rate is accelerating really fast right now. So, if SoFi keeps coming out with these aggressive quarterlies, eventually people are going to shift mass attention to it. This is where I've made this video. I made it over the weekend where I, compared Robinhood and SoFi. I'm going to tell you what, man, I love Robinhood stock. I think regardless, it is here to stay. It's going to continue to do well into the future. No doubt about it. There is no way that if SoFi bypasses Robin here in revenue by Q1, Q2 of next year, do you honestly think people are going to still pay $130, maybe $150, depending on where Robinhood stock is at that point? Maybe more, I don't know. Do you really think they're going to continue to buy Robinhood stock when SoFi is increasing quarterlies, cheaper, even buying SoFi at $60, $70? What do you think people are going to do? And SoFi has such a head start of getting to this place where Robinhood wants to get to. Think about that. Robinhood has achieved the trading status. That is the bread and butter of their skeleton, and they do it well. Obviously, there's going to be some comments in that, but you know what I mean? Just for the general, investor out there. It's not like they're Fidelity or something, so give me a break here. But what they're trying to be here with this banking system, what they want to do, what SoFi has already achieved in executing magnificently. So really think about what we're looking at here. This is it right here. This is the moment in time where you're going to look back on this time next year and you're going to go like, thank God, right before Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, I took whatever and I went for it. Now, I think this is going to be a gradual growth. I think the market's still got some rocky road to go down here. I don't know what is about to happen this week. Obviously I'm not going against the grain and saying that, Nvidia's going to miss quarterlies. I don't think that's what anyone's really saying right now. It's more or less like, how aggressive can the quarterlies be with Nvidia? Are they going to hit a $50 billion quarterly? Is that, can they do it? I don't know. Even Jensen here the past month here has come out and said, like, we can't make them fast enough, people, the chips. So, giving, little breadcrumbs to investors here, what's going on. Really, man, I'm telling you, I think Sofi may do what Robinhood did here in 2025. This could really start leapfrogging and get really crazy here. There's no doubt about it. Let's watch this video real fast.
Wednesday afternoon, and to say they are a big deal is an understatement. So we brought on two big deals to talk about it. Gene Munster, Managing Partner, Deepwater Asset Management. Dan Ives, Global Head of Technology Research at Wedbush Securities, both coordinating and rocking some pink today, by the way. So appreciate that. No, it's my race car helmet is pink.
I think Gene wearing pink's bullish.
Yeah, this is
too.
a big deal for me. Usually
Pink is now the bullish color. Let's talk about this, Dan Ives. How big are NVIDIA's earnings on Wednesday night?
It's a Super Bowl, not just for tech earnings, but I think this market, right? I mean, the reality is that there's only one godfather of AI, and that's Jensen. And NVIDIA, look, it's the foundation in terms of what demand looks like, in terms of what we're seeing. And, Gene and I talk about it often. I think it's going to be actually a huge positive growth catalyst that we see, not just for NVIDIA, but for tech stocks. But it all comes down to, on Wednesday night, you're going to be able to hear a pin drop on trading floors around the world.
I just don't know, Gene, how you even plan for this. Normally, you've got the analyst estimates, you've got a little bit of a whisper number. If they kind of come in a little bit above it, it's good news. Everybody knows NVIDIA's numbers are going to be gigantic. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, it's not only a fair statement. Back on the 28th, Jensen went at the GTC. He basically gave us the playbook through the end of next year. He said this $500 billion in Blackwell and Rubin revenue. If you take that for his word that they're going to be able to do that. Now, if they can get supply, that implies a 54% revenue growth rate for next year. The street's at 41%. Now, it's come up from 34 to 41. But that's the gap, as I think about this, Brian, that's the gap between where they've set the bar on the 28th.
He gave us 54% revenue growth. I don't know a lot about Wall Street, except I do know this. 54% ain't going to do it when it comes to the stock, is it? It's going to have to be better than 54%, isn't it?
I don't think it needs to be better than 54 this week. I think it needs to be better than the 41 where the street's at.
Yep. And to Gene's point, look, we just getting back from Asia, being there 3 weeks. Demand to supply for NVIDIA chips is 12 to 1. So it comes down to there's one chip.
12 people in order for every one potential chip that exists to order.
So there's one chip in the world fueling the AI revolution. And that's why it speaks to our view that anyone that talks, and Gene and I talk about it all the time, anyone talks about an AI bubble here, we are in the third inning of where this is all playing out. And I think that's why this is an inflection point. You're going to see ultimately what the demand looks like from Jensen himself. And I view it as a bullish catalyst for tech stocks.
Here's the worry, though.
Okay. So essentially, it's a good look. There's not much left, but it's a good interview where I think people should go and watch it. Even Tom Lee is still so bullish on what's going on here, which, I mean, I know it's hard to see that right now with the market. You go, you look at the market and you go, oh my God, but we've been here before this year. This isn't the first time we've been here with the market this year. I mean, even if you look at, the sheet here, Tom Lee, like I said, is still very much on this 7,000 plus zone with the S&P 500. And we've had two dramatic sells here in the market this year. We had one right coming out of the summer around August. We had one, recently we just had one here at the end of October. Now we're kind of going through another one. But two, as we continue to it's as we continue to find these new glass ceilings with the market, we get up there and we're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful up here, and then we take the wrong step and it's like, hey, did you hear about tariffs? Whoop. It's a glass floor right now. A glass floor, I guess I should say. But that's the situation of what we keep walking into, where the market is either extremely sold off or extremely pushed up. And it's like, can we just get some common ground here? So I think when we find just normal green days where everything's just like, hey, stocks are just doing a little bit, the market opens, a little push, a little sell off, a little more push, and then sell off. Just a nice, clean little 2% day. We're not getting those days. We're either getting like, oh my God, or like, oh my God, like I'm making so much money. This is really the what's going on in the market right now. So for people that are like new in the market here this year, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, this is completely unnormal behavior of what we're dealing with in the market. So it's hard to say, what is the it's even now it's hard to say what is the evaluation of some of these stocks, because we've seen low cap stocks have been beat down here the past 2 weeks to where it's like, what is the price, with some of these things right now? It's hard to say. So, like you said, NVIDIA is really going to tell the tale of what's going on here to Thursday with these reports of jobs. Obviously, rate cut will be great for the market. Rate cut in general will be great. We've had two, but I mean, they were little, and, rate cuts are going to be great for, bank stocks alone. SoFi, really what we're paying attention here. Friends, I think SoFi is something that, a lot of us are going to look back on 5-10 years from now and go like, thank God, I got what I got. Thank God I got what I got. There's stocks that I look back on, really, I look back on like, 8 years ago and I go like, thank God. I look back on Palantir, 3-4 years ago, and I go, thank God. I mean, even people that were buying Tesla 6 years ago, you're saying the same thing. But I think even people that are buying Tesla now, 10 years from now, are going to go like, thank God I did that. Thank God. It cost an arm and a leg, but thank God minimum, I just started putting it in with Tesla. So, yeah, be excited. I don't be upset about what's going on right now. Don't let the market get you down right now. This could be a really exciting turn of events here. When we get our really good green days in the market, of course, there's going to be some bad days in the market too. Now, we've had a lot of bad days here. We've had a lot of red here, but this is the week right here. We're going to see how it all unfolds. This is going to be the teletape. This is it right here. This is the investors storming the beach, and we got to take this ground. We have got to take this ground. So we'll see what happens here. I wish all of us the best of luck. We'll see what happens, friends. Have a great day trading. I don't know what's going to happen today. Probably not a lot, and tomorrow. But I think we're all just kind of waiting around to catch the bus here. So we're all going to do it together. Friends, take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.